Well, welcome back, everyone, and I hope you're ready for the finale of There's a Locked Door in My New Apartment. I'm hoping I get it all in this video, so let's not dilly-dally, shall we? And in 5, 4, 3, 2... I won't let you kill my daughter, he shouted, towering above me at the entrance. My vision started to clear up, and I saw him now, a look of utter rage on his face. He was holding a crowbar firmly and breathing heavily. "Vincent," I barely muttered. "You don't understand." "Oh, I understand. You were trying to burn my apartment down and kill my daughter." What? I propped myself up on my elbows and started to back away from him, slowly. Vincent closed the door behind him, shutting us both into room 304. "Yeah, that's right, Nate," he said as he turned on me. "I'm the mysterious landlord you've been looking for." "You? You knew what was going on the whole time, didn't you?" "You don't get it, Nate. It was all an accident. It was never supposed to be this way. I never meant to hurt her." "What are you talking about? You did something to Susan, didn't you?" I asked, still on my elbows, now in my living room. "It was an accident. She never even told me about her condition. How the hell was I supposed to know she needed those meds?" Suddenly, in addition to the pain in the back of my head, I started to feel pain in front as well. My vision got dark, and then images started flashing before my eyes. I saw Vincent and a young girl standing in the apartment. I felt as though I actually was there, observing the entire scene clearly. Vincent was in his pajamas, and the girl looked like she was dressed for a date. "Dad, what are you doing here?" the girl asked. "Do you have any idea what time it is, Susan?" he angrily said to her. "We lost track of time. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to stay so long," Susan replied. "It's 3 a.m., Susan. I told you be home by midnight." "I said I was sorry." "That's not the point." Susan looked down at her shoes timidly. "You never listen." Vincent shook his head. "You need to be taught some manners." He grabbed her by the wrist, and she struggled for a moment before breaking free from his grip. This seemed to enrage Vincent more, and he backhanded Susan, knocking her down. "See what you're making me do?" Vincent shouted as he opened the storage door. And that's exactly what it was. A normal storage door, and inside a normal storage with normal walls and normal tools inside. He grabbed Susan by her ankle and dragged her inside. He slammed the door shut and locked it as Susan started banging on the door, pleading with her father to let her out. "You need to think about your actions and listen to your parents," Vincent said as he glanced at his watch. "It's exactly 3:19 a.m. I will be back in 1 hour to let you out once you've thought about your actions." He stormed out of the apartment as Susan continued to plead. "Dad, please!" She pounded on the door. "I need my meds! Let me out, please!" Susan's muffled pleas turned into wheezing and then into shallow panting. Eventually, her breathing stopped and everything went silent. Another flash appeared in front of my eyes, and when it disappeared, I saw Vincent entering the apartment again. 4:19, time's up, Sue. He strode to the storage door and knocked on it loudly with his palm. You ready to listen now? There was no response from the other side. Hey, you little brat. He slammed the door again. You hear me? Silence. Effing brat. He pulled his keys out and forcefully stuck them in the keyhole, turning them aggressively. You're going to learn how to... Vincent pushed the door open and stopped in his tracks, his eyes widening in horror. The storage room was gone, and instead what stood in front of him was a corridor which stretched into infinite darkness. There was pulsating veins and tendrils stretching across the walls and floor, making the entire place look like a living amalgamation. Susan? Vincent called out to her. As a response, the tendrils started to slither slowly towards him, and he screamed and shut the door in panic. Another flash blinded me, and I was back in reality, on the floor of my living room. Vincent was standing over me. The blaring of the fire alarm returned along with the pain in my skull. You did that! You killed her! I shouted at Vincent angrily. You let the apartment take her! Vincent shook his head. You still don't get it. The apartment didn't kill her. She is the apartment, Nathan. When I locked her in there and she died, her anger and hate for what I did created this abomination which desires to feed on all people. I thought about burning the place myself, but then I realized she is my daughter and I have to keep her happy. So every few months, I find new tenants who walk inside the room and never come back. Do you even realize how difficult it is to find oblivious tenants like that guy Martin? It's hard to find people like Martin and other people who won't run away from the apartment. You have no idea how hard it is to get people like that who will stay and allow themselves to be consumed by the apartment. Do you realize that? Everyone has some flipping questions all the time. But Martin, he was good. He never asked a single question. And then one day, he just disappeared. And Susan was satiated. The tenants served as food for Susan. But you, Nate, I had different plans for you. I liked you. You could have stayed alive. He took a few steps towards me so that he stood inches away from me. I'm sorry, son, but I can't let you leave, he said. It was at this point that the storage door slowly started to open to the darkness inside. Vincent, wait! I raised my hand up in a stop sign, thinking that would help, focusing my gaze on that door. Vincent ignored me and raised the crowbar above his head with both hands, ready to bring it down on me. I was still transfixed on that door. A pair of eyes appeared in the darkness, a pair of familiar, bloodshot eyes. Before Vincent managed to bring down the crowbar on my head, the creaking lady, Daniela, jumped and tackled him at an impossible speed, closing the distance between the two of them in the blink of an eye. The creaking was louder than ever now, so loud that the alarm could almost not even be heard. She grabbed Vincent's head with both hands and slammed it on the ground over and over as if he was a rag doll. When he went limp, she pushed her bony fingers into his eyes. Blood spurted out of Vincent's eye sockets as he screamed and writhed, unable to break free from her. And then, still holding him by his head with one hand, she dragged him inside the storage room effortlessly. As he screamed, the door slammed shut, and Vincent's hysterical screaming got drowned out until, along with the creaking, it all stopped completely, leaving only the sound of the alarm. I stared at the door for a while, not fully comprehending what just happened. When I finally came to my senses, I crawled toward the entrance, grabbing the lighter which fell out of my hand. This time I didn't hesitate and ignited the floor as fast as possible. As soon as the flames touched the gas-stained carpet, it spread quickly in a wave, and the room was engulfed in the brightness of the fire. I bolted out of the building with my head throbbing and throbbing as quickly as I could. Sirens of the firemen greeted me outside, along with the tenants who stood on the other side of the street and watched in horror as their homes burned up. Dolores waved to me from the crowd, and I approached her. "You made it," she said. "Yeah, it's over." I stared at the burning window, which used to be my apartment. The flames were spreading onto the adjacent rooms quickly, and the firefighters were having trouble containing all the damage. "You did the right thing, Nate," Dolores said. "I'm sure it's what Michelle would have wanted as well." "I just hope they find peace," I said. "My sister is here to pick me up. Come on, we'll give you a ride." I followed her. I turned around one last time to look at the burning building and saw people in the windows. They stood motionless, staring at me. I could tell from here who they were: Michelle, Martin, Daniela, and everyone else who fell victim to the apartment. I can't tell you why, but I believe they were grateful and were saying goodbye. "You coming, Nate?" Dolores shouted. "Yeah, I'm coming." I looked in her direction and then back at the building. The former tenants were gone, leaving only an empty building with a dancing flame. And that was the finale of There's a Locked Door in My New Apartment. The username down below is his Reddit username, but he's also known as Horror with BB. So if you love his work, look him up. He also has a book, and he's graciously offered to let me do all the other ones that I asked if you guys wanted to hear, because, after the finale noise. So that's the finale. I hope you enjoyed, and come back soon. We are starting a new series very, very promptly. This will get out late. I had sick kiddos, so I'm very sorry. And then I have barking dogs and all this craziness and echo dots making noise, but who cares? I hope you enjoyed the grand finale and you got at least the answers you were hoping for? I found it very satisfying myself. And make sure you are subbed and your bell is still on. And don't forget, Yippee-Ki-Ya, Musey lovers. I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.